Hey guys, Nathan here for Ventic Sports. Now, today I'm going to teach you how to catch carp in your local ponds. The first tip I'm going to give you before you even get out on the water is clothing. You do not want to go to the lake dressed in a bright red shirt, wearing all black, stuff like that. Those fish are going to see you really easily. Carp are spooky fish. They live in that skinny water, they feed in that skinny water, they know they're vulnerable. This is why you got to be able to sneak up on them. So, wear something that's going to blend in with the background. You know, I wear a lot of camouflage, I wear a lot of bright blues to match the sky, things like that. Make sure you are hidden from those fish so you can get as close as possible and present that fly just right without spooking them.
That's probably a big one. And I'm in my backing. Could be that big one. Yeah, it's not a little fish. I got a big one here, Tita. Head up, head up. Lift it. Oh. It's the biggest carp I ever caught. I can't even pick it up. Beat up. Oh. That's got to be 40. Hold on, Chris. That's massive.
Alright, so I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea of what sort of equipment you're going to need while you're fishing for these fish. You know, I caught that fish on the Ventic fiberglass 5-weight. This is an 8'1", 4-piece fly rod. You know, absolutely stunning. Comes in red, white, and blue. And you know, it's a 5-weight, it's fiberglass, it's got a whole lot of bend to it. It's definitely not made to take on fish that big, but it handled it. Now, on that lake, there's no snags out there. It's basically just open water. So, I mean, you can get away with a 5-weight on a lake in open water. If you are fishing a lake that has a lot more snags, and you know there's fish like that around, you definitely want to throw an 8-weight. That's what I got here. This is what I bought for Lake Michigan when I was fishing the Great Lakes. This is a Cabela's Theorem rod and 8-weight WLX reel, 7/8, and this had a ton of backbone. And this is when you hook those fish and there's cover around, and you need to make sure that you can steer those fish away from that sort of stuff. This is the rod you're going to want. An 8-weight is what you need for those bigger fish, especially around cover. I mean, I would have been much better off catching that fish on this rod, but luckily, like I said, there's no cover round. I had plenty of backing on that reel, had plenty of room to run. So, you know, I kind of got lucky in that situation. Anywhere else, you know, and I probably would have lost that fish and had no idea how big it was. So equipment is very important. Most places you're fishing, you know, it just all depends on the size of the carp that you're going for. Most places, you know, your average size carp is 5 to 10 pounds, which I would say, you know, a 6 weight, 7 weight, perfect for that. You know, I fish the LA River where your average size is, you know, 5 pounds, maybe up to 10 pounds. And I throw a 6 weight out there pretty much exclusively. I also use my 5 weight fiberglass just because it's a ton of fun catching fish. You know, it's way more of a challenge, and they put up a lot more of a fight. But, you know, if you want to be able to get into really catching these fish, at least a 6 weight is what you're going to need. You know, if the carp, if you're starting off near the Great Lakes, you know, all the carp are actually a lot bigger. 8 weight is what you're going to want. And some guys even go with the saltwater 8 weights, you know, with the saltwater reels just because they hold a ton more line. What you're giving up there, I mean, it's going to be a heavier setup. But I mean, this thing holds a ton of line, and I got it filled to the actual brim, and I've never been spooled yet out on the Great Lakes. So this reel right here is an Aventic trout. This is the 5 to 6 weight, just Aventic trout reel, and CNC machined. Awesome reel. It handled that big carp just fine, and I just put a ton of extra line on there, a ton of extra backing on there. And if I didn't do that, you know, that fish would have spooled me. I just did that the other day. So if you're going to use like a 5 weight, you know, and your average size fish is a little bit smaller, that's fine. Just make sure you got plenty of backing on your reel, because you get those bigger fish, the last thing you want is them to take all your line off and just ruin your day, and possibly ruin your next few weeks, because you got to save up and buy more fly line and backing and everything else, you know. And fly line's not the cheapest stuff out there. So as long as you got plenty of backing on there, you're going to be okay. You know, definitely, like I said, fish your conditions with what kind of equipment you're going to need. Alright guys, now let's talk about the flies I was using. Normally when I get out to the lake, I like to throw a Johnny Montana hybrid fly. This fly is absolutely great for those morning fish who are feeding down on those clam patterns. This is just a little bit of hackle, some dumbbell eyes, you know. I got a circle hook on here which actually works fairly decently, and some squirmy worm material for the siphon tail, or you can use chenille. I use red chenille or pink chenille or orange chenille. All that works great. That pattern, like I said today, it was not going to work because the water was way too dirty. Couldn't even see dust clouds. So the other pattern I tie is just the easy, basically a foam egg. And all this is McFly foam. And it's just white. There's no beads. There's no lead. There's no any sort of weight. This is a size 8 Umpqua nymph hook and McFly foam and thread. Now the nice thing about this stuff is take it, once you have it tied up, I tie it usually a little more irregular shaped, something that looks like a piece of bread, not so round, doesn't look more like an egg. I think this looks a little more fake, and then I've had larger fish deny it. So take this, dip it in the water, squeeze it a couple times. It's going to soak up that water, and the nice thing is when you flip this out there, it's going to sink nice and slow, like a piece of bread sinking down there. Now that looks ultra realistic to those fish, and they don't have to think about it. They see the piece of bread falling, they're just going to eat it, you know. And that's what this imitates. This imitates a falling piece of bread from the surface, nice, slow, and steady. And you're allowed, basically, in this dirty water, to just watch your line and watch for your line to jump. So, super easy pattern to tie, works absolutely great at any place where people feed the ducks. You can tie this fly, takes not even 2 minutes to tie one of these, you know, and it is going to catch fish like it did today, you know, probably close to the 40-pound range. So as long as those fish are there, they're going to eat this fly. Just tie it, give it a flip, let it sink slow, watch your line, catch those fish. Good luck, guys. Hopefully that helps some of you out. Make sure you tag me your pictures or your videos. I'd like to see how it helped you. Take it easy.